Ready. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ready, Set, Grow Show. I'm just going to play around a little bit so that you see everybody. We're all here. And thank you for joining us today. This morning, we're talking, well, all month, we're talking about and unveiling the different aspects and the different days of the Yep to Freedom Challenge. And today we have a very special guest with us, Heather Hughes, also known as the LinkedIn Lady Boss. All right. So if you've ever, wondered how to master LinkedIn, we've got her here with us today. But she takes great pride in helping professionals learn how they can leverage social media to increase their network and grow their business. And we are very, very honored to have Heather here. Heather is very down to earth, health conscious woman. So Heather, you'd have to share some tips with me because I'm trying to be health conscious. I know it's important.
It's definitely hard to have a family.
It's yes. She loves spending time with her family and finding the next great adventure. And we have, this adventure, the Up to Freedom Challenge. I'd say it's been an adventure, right?
Sure, 100%.
Definitely. Deb and I, we do these lives every week, and we unveil different aspects um, of the business of young entrepreneur project. And this month, we're really talking about the challenge, all right, that Yep to Freedom Challenge. And there are different days in the challenge. So we want to talk about today specifically, we're diving into what you do on day 2, but also some of the aspects that you've trained on as well, because you've been a trainer on the challenge, and some of those things that you shared, the tips that you shared for entrepreneurs. So if you wanna, we're welcoming Heather, but dive right in, and just tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey thus far and how you became a member of this amazing community.
Sure. So I have a LinkedIn agency. I'm a done for you type of service. So I do the LinkedIn stuff. And one of my clients, who happens to be also a Yepper, came back from a meeting and was super excited. And I'm like, so what's going on? Tell me. And she's like, well, it's like this business in a box and it can help people grow their business. And I'm like, okay, well, what do I have to lose? I'm, just starting out in the entrepreneurial world, and I'm like, let's give it a try. Why not be able to thank my clients? I love travel. So I'm like, okay, it's a win-win situation. So that's why I was attracted to the Young Entrepreneur Project. And what happened after that is all extra. It's all the community, you two wonderful ladies, getting to know so many people. You don't know what you're missing until all of a sudden you have it, and you're like, that was the missing piece of being an entrepreneur. We think we can do it all by ourselves, but you don't have to. And realizing that was it's kind of why I'm here and why I'm still here and why I love helping other entrepreneurs grow their business.
All right. So you mentioned something there in terms of like recent. You had just started your agency. So how long have you been in the entrepreneurial space, actually?
So I walked into my job one day in late 2018. It was actually right before Christmas, and I was basically told that I was making too much money. So when someone tells you that this is what you're worth and this is what you're getting paid and you've reached it, I was like, okay, well, that doesn't work for me. And I was done letting someone else decide how much I was getting paid. So I'm like, I'm not going to go. I had a choice. I could go back to corporate America and let someone else keep deciding how much I was worth, or figure out this entrepreneur thing. So I said, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I had an idea. I was actually just graduated from being a health coach. So I'm like, I'm going to be a health coach. And I knew I wanted to do social media. One of the great things about my corporate job is I learned social media. We had hired a social media coach to teach us LinkedIn. So that's kind of where I fell in love with LinkedIn. And I'm like, this is definitely where I want to build my business. But so I did that. Gonna have to say, didn't love being a health coach. I love health, but I didn't love being a health coach. But I love figuring out the technical stuff to build my business. And I'm like, you know what, I'm better at this than at health coaching. There's so many better people out there to do that. So I'm going to go where my passion was. And then so I started sharing that with people. That's how I met Debbie Morton, who I was doing her LinkedIn for her for a while. And then that's how I was introduced to. So I would say just about, that was 2019 kind of is when I launched. So just 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I have to make a comment about what you had said. You know, when we are trying to share, prospect with other people, they don't know what we have because we didn't know what we were missing until we were actually there. So I like that point that you brought out that, you know, we have to kind of sit on our frustration because we know what we've got and what was missing in our business. They don't. So we just have to be gentle and teach. So I like that point. But
absolutely, yeah, it's hard to put that into words for sure.
Yes.
it is. It is. So what's the Freedom Challenge all about? Can you explain in quickly, so to say?
I'll try to. I will tell you, you know, a lot of people don't realize what might be holding them back from reaching that next level in their wherever. It's not just about business. It's about life. It's about all the things, getting to the next level of wherever you want to be. So that's what I would say the Freedom Challenge is about. And it's different every time. So you know, wherever you are at that particular moment in going through the Freedom Challenge, you'll pick up something that, you know, you may have heard it 6 times, not just within the Freedom Challenge, but from other personal development people. For whatever reason, it hits you at the right moment and you're like, that's what I needed. And that's what pushes you to the next level. And then, so I think that's what the Freedom Challenge is to find what's blocking you at that moment to take you to the next level.
Awesome. Yeah.
Right. Definitely. And you know, as we said before, in the intro, that I think the challenge breaks it down. And in terms of like day 2, which is those requirements for an entrepreneur, could you share a little bit about from your experience and also from the challenge, what do people need to know to become an entrepreneur?
So actually, I love this question because, you know, I love checklists. I love, okay, a blueprint to tell me exactly what I need to do. So when you say the requirements of an entrepreneur, you think of the skills, maybe the tools that you need, but that's not what it's about. It's not what it's about at all. It's actually all internal of what you need mentally to, you know, let's face it, being an entrepreneur is not easy. So like kind of getting out of your own head and embracing the, for lack of a better word, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but embracing the suck, because sometimes it's just really hard. So
Yes.
that's kind of what the me, that's what day 2 is all about, is about overcoming your limiting beliefs, what your fears, and your struggles, really.
Mhm. Yes, definitely. And you know,
Yeah.
it's because when I started, I think just like you know, I'm a background engineer. So I'm a checklist, I've had 50 billion diaries and I could go back and tell you what I did on Monday the 24th, 2017, right? But it's, as you say, it's once you embrace this, it's kind of like health, right? With my, like, it's not a, there are checklists, but at the same time it's not, right? You have to embrace this like a reason for.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, they kind of get like, well, that's fluffy stuff, but that that's the crux of the matter, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, ladies, I join right in with you guys with the checklist. I'm a nurse by profession, so. So
Yeah.
Heather, this has been so awesome. But can you give, for those that are watching and possibly considering joining the challenge, can you give them any advice in why they should join?
Yeah, so not only is there are nuts and bolts. There will definitely be nuts and bolts that you can take away and implement in your business right away. But a lot of times it's that that unknown thing, that soft thing. It's not you're not going to find it on any checklist of what you need to get to take to the next challenge or to the next level. So if you're struggling, starting a business, moving your business along to the next level, the Freedom Challenge will answer all those questions and kind of put it into place and kind of let you not be overwhelmed about it. It's okay that you're struggling here, but let's move you out of the muck and into the freedom, so to say, no matter where it is, because to me, freedom is a journey that you're always on. So it's just one level at a time. So I would say that's why I would most definitely recommend a Freedom Challenge, is to get out of your own head and start taking action to take your life and your business to the next level.
Excellent.
There was something that you said about the suck, right? Okay. And I remember hearing somebody saying that being an entrepreneur could get boring. Because
I haven't hit that yet.
And it's because of those things that you kind of have to do over and over again that you feel like, when am I gonna get out of this stage? And as you said, freedom is that journey. And I don't know if, and I mean, this is kind of like a curveball, but have you ever been in that? Well, because like for the challenge, for me, I was in that rut of doing the same thing over and over and over and just feeling like this is pointless.
Mm-hmm.
But then the challenge kind of showed me, no, it's not. Right? There's value in this repetition. And it kind of threw me back to my kids. We're teaching, concepts, and they're doing them over and over and over again. And what seems like, why can't you just get it? Do you ever go through that feeling of, why can't I just get it as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it's actually really hard because we want to see immediate action. We want to see immediate results from the activity that we're doing. So, and it's hard not to see that. So sometimes if you can actually get small wins along the way, so you know that seed is still growing underneath the ground and you just don't see it, it's really hard. That's why being part of a community, to know that you're surrounded with people that kind of think the same way, and they'll encourage you on those days that you just want to stop. If you stop, you know that seed will stop growing. So you need to keep watering that plant and keep planting or keep watering that seed. It's like the bamboo tree, right? We all know it takes like 7 years for it to actually sprout, and then after that, it doesn't stop growing. It grows like a weed, right? So most definitely, I think that's probably the biggest misconception about entrepreneurship. It takes, we hear about restaurants and businesses that it takes 5 years before you're successful. It takes a while to get that seed growing underground before you actually will see results. And it's not easy. And I know people need immediate income. So that's the biggest struggle, is to, I would say, especially if you're starting a business and you have a day job, is not to put your day job before you have it rolling consistently. And that's why consistency is so important, day after day after day, and surround yourself with people that will encourage that.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
And you've given some good tips, Heather, as far as excuse me, sorry, as far as how long it takes, because of family members and friends who are watching you, and it's like, yeah, right, like you're really doing something, but they don't understand that concept, that it takes a while to learn and to grow, and it is growing. They just can't see it, so therefore they're negative Nancy's. So it's like, okay. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yep. Yes. That's what we're here for. That's one of the best things about the Young Entrepreneur Project is that we support each other on those bad days just as much as on the good days.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so I know we talked a little bit about like the day two, but
Mhm.
I wanted to hear a little bit about what you've been training on for the last few challenges. If you want to give us just a little sneak peek, not don't give us the farm, but
Yeah. So I definitely talk about branding because a lot of times, no matter what it is that we're doing, we think that we need to brand our company and not ourselves. So I talk about that and some of the mistakes that are made, being a new entrepreneur, not knowing what I was doing, the money that I don't want to say wasted because I do feel like we learn from all our failures or mistakes, but I spent money on a website before I even had a client. Before I was even online. And I would say to definitely, that's my biggest takeaway about branding is to find your voice because it's about being authentic and passionate about who you are, not who you think your ideal client is. So you don't want to spend a lot of money until you know what your message is, not what you think the message should be.
should be. Yeah.
So be true to who you are, authenticity and
Yeah.
passion.
I think it took me about 7 years to finally articulate that, and and as you said, in that time, I've had the website, I've had done the logo professionally, and spent quite a bit
Mhm.
without really knowing, what my brand was and who my brand was, and it was only from where I don't know what year we're in right now, but I think it was late 2019, before all of the COVID madness, late 2019. That's when I actually started to really solidify that brand, as you said. And I think it it really being authentic to you. I think that was one of the key things that it just came back to that. And doing the challenge, I think really helped me in terms of honing that, right? Now, sorry, Deb. I don't know.
No, I was just going to say that, yes, I spent lots of money too because, I got to know my colors and I have to do this and I have to do that. And it's like, I don't know who I am. I mean, for the longest time, supposedly, I didn't even know who my avatar was. And I'm like, how do I figure this out? And just one day it just popped. It's like, holy cow. But it took me years. I've been in network marketing for 11 years. I have brought it online 4 years ago, and I'm just struggling with all of this. So I am so glad that you pointed a snippet of that out so people don't get discouraged. It does take time learning all the things. For me, learning technology when I brought my business online, and then, okay, who am I? Well, I'm a very frustrated, displaced nurse in an arena that I know nothing about. I didn't learn in nurses training. And so, yeah, it does take time. So I'm glad, Heather, that you talked about that. And we do have to give ourselves that space to grow into who we are.
Mhm.
And it's evolving. I do think that your brand evolves over time. Like Hillary, especially you just said you just found that not that long ago. And I'm going to guarantee you that over the next few years, that's going to evolve and it's going to be different. I know for myself that I have dreams, and I know that my brand is going to evolve also over time. So
Yes.
recognizing that it's transformation constantly.
Constantly. Yes, yes. And that it's not just one set in stone thing. Because I remember when I started, I don't know, it was just by accident, right? I'm not a pink person. To be perfectly honest, I hate the color pink. But but everything is pink, right? And I think it really grew on me because of my three girls, right? It was just always pink. And it's just like, it grew on me. I was like, oh, it's not such a bad color after all. Right. But even things like that, they grow, as you said, it takes years because left to me, it's like my colors are blue. Okay. I like the dark, nice colors, not these bright things, but it's like my girls love it. I love it. And, I love to see them and it is vibrant. So definitely these things grow on us. So I'm glad that they're gonna branding is a big piece that we kind of forget about, and it's the way you've taught the branding, right, in the challenge. That is the aspect that I think is very important for entrepreneurs. So I don't know if we have any Deb, do you have any closing remarks, questions? um
I just thank Heather for coming. I have loved you from the moment that I joined Yep, listening to you, and it's like, oh my gosh, this woman has so many words of wisdom. And then when you started teaching the branding part of it, that really, really helped me. So you are reaching so many people and teaching so many people. And I am so glad you are in my life that I can continue to learn from you.
Oh,
Sure.
thank you so much. It's such a pleasure, and I'm so honored to be asked to join you two ladies this morning. So that was great. Thank you very much for having
You're
me.
most welcome. And Heather, thank you for having us. So for those who are viewing, even if you're viewing on a replay, you could always reach out to either Deb or myself. And Heather, LinkedIn Lady Boss. I'm sure we I've also
Yeah, I don't think there's any more than one of us, but I don't know. Maybe there is.
all right. Go seek out the LinkedIn Lady Boss. All right. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll see you next week as we continue to unveil the different days of this Yep to Freedom Challenge. Have a wonderful day, everybody.